The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings 2021 Waste Management Open. First look, research, and lineup review for the week. Spoiler alert, did not go well for me this week in the big contest, so you can have some fun with that. Maybe I'll be down like $10,000 by the time golf season is done. I probably will end up tapping out before that. Few things you should know before going in. Obviously, smash the like button for the video. Give me your favorite sleeper heading into this event, a guy that might be off someone's radar. And there are two $100 giveaways you can get into. We are announcing one of the winners on Monday's show with Jeff Feinberg. So all you need to do is go on Apple Podcasts, rate, review, 5 stars on the Pat Mayo Experience podcast, and leave your Twitter handle or email address so I know how to contact you if you actually are the winner. That will be given out on Monday's show. Also, a new podcast feed is coming through. I've already created it. It's called Daily Fantasy Sports Picks and Bets, The Mix. It's going to be short form content if you want to get in on kind of the niche type of slate. So there's going to be UFC on there, quick picks. There's going to be NASCAR quick picks, the European Tour. So if you're interested in betting or getting in on some of these smaller DFS slates, I think that's going to be a podcast you should subscribe to. Not a lot of time invested into it. You want some quick hits. You want the info. You want to get in. You want to get out. You'll be good to go. Hoping to add maybe some tennis, some esports, showdown slates to that. An excellent contributor list already lined up for that, so that'll be revealed in the coming weeks. I'll also probably be doing a one and done quick segment up on that audio feed as well. So you can find the links to that podcast in the description of this video and podcast. It's its own separate feed, and there's a $100 giveaway for that as well. If you subscribe to that podcast, rate and review 5 stars, same deal, Twitter handle, email address, whatever it might be, you'll be in the draw. We'll be announcing that a week from now, so you have an entire week to go leave your ratings and reviews for daily fantasy sports picks and bets. All right. Remember to become a member at fantasynational.com right now. It's where I'm going to be walking you through to do all my research for this show. fantasynational.com/Mayo. Get yourself the discount. Some big tournaments coming up, so you'll probably want to get into that. First off, Patrick Reed. And now Rory getting lumped into the mix. We're going to cover this in full on Monday's show with Feinberg. So I'm going to leave my feelings to that for then. I guess the one thing that I'll say is I enjoy golf as entertainment, and I found this to be very entertaining, especially the people who are all high and mighty about themselves in the game of golf. So it's going to be a fun conversation. I know it really triggers people on either side, and that's why I enjoy it, is that listen, Rory missed like every putt on Saturday. He made one putt more than 3 feet. Like, that's a story. No one cares. Patrick Reed cheats? That's a story. Everyone's talking about it. So as much as it seems like a black eye for the game of golf, for the golf purists, and it probably is in that regard, to get people actually talking about the number of texts I got from people that don't even care about golf or never even see golf, like, what the hell is going on with this Patrick Reed thing? People are talking. The people don't pay attention to it. So you can weigh that as a good thing or a bad thing, but I always agree that almost any sort of attention is good attention. So that will be my stance on it for now. You can see my full developed thoughts on Monday's show on the Pat Mayo Experience. But we're here to talk about Phoenix, one of the best tournaments of the year. There's going to be fans at this event, not the 200,000 like you would normally see at the Waste Management Open. You probably won't see a complete packed stadium at the 16th hole, although it's Arizona. Who knows what they're up to? So you might see a ton of people on the 16th hole. I really don't know, but it's going to be the first time we're going to have spectators on the course in a very long time. In the field, it's pretty good. We're looking at Justin Thomas making his return from overseas. There's also the Saudi Arabia pay-for-play competition going on this week. So that's where the reason that Tony Finau isn't in this event trying to avenge his playoff loss a year ago to Webb Simpson is because he's over in Saudi Arabia this week. It just worked for Paul Casey. He goes from the American Express overseas, gets himself a win. Jet lag be damned. Tony Finau is trying to accomplish that same thing this week over in Saudi Arabia. But in Phoenix, we got JT, Rahm, Webb Simpson, the defending champ, Xander Schauffele, Brooks Koepka, who's won this event in the past, Rory McIlroy playing for the first time ever as well at the TPC Stadium course in Scottsdale. And just the rest of the field, very good too. We got Sungjae, Berger, Hideki, Harris English. See, woo! Kim, Scotty Scheffler, Matthew Wolff, Jason Day, Bubba Watson, Ryan Palmer, Louis Oosthuizen, Gary Woodland, Will Zalatoris, Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, Sebastian Munoz, Matt Kuchar. He's a name. He's not really playing all that well right now, but has played well here historically. Davis Riley is going to be in the field for anyone who loves people who make birdies from the Corn Ferry Tour, won there a bunch of times a year ago, so he's not like some sort of scrub and just some loser at the back end of this field. Davis Riley's pretty legit. John Augustine is playing as well, was second at the USAM, missed the cut at the American Express. He will be in the field for Phoenix. As of right now, both Matthew Wolff and Charlie Hoffman are listed in this field as well. Both withdrew from the Farmers Insurance Open because of injury, so you might want to monitor their status going forward. As of the time of this recording, and in full disclosure, it is 2 p.m. Eastern on a Sunday, so the leaders at the Farmers Insurance Open have just gone off, so hopefully Rory or Ryan Palmer can do something here, and that would be nice. Rory especially. Although Norlander charging up the board too. I'm curious to see what happens to Patrick Reed. But if you have money on this event, I hope you win. If you're up there in the DraftKings contest, I hope you cash some bucks. That would be excellent news. But Hoffman and Wolff, keep an eye on them. Not that I have a ton of interest in Charlie Hoffman for this event anyway, although he has played well here in the past. Matthew Wolff is someone who should dominate at this course. So I'm curious to see where his hand is at right now, whether he ends up playing, withdrawing. But Hoffman's withdrawn from the past 2 events. You just can't realistically put him into a DraftKings lineup, knowing that, put it this way, if it was one thing, it would be Rory or Justin Thomas, a very top-end player, but, Charlie Hoffman at best is middle of the pack, like a middle of the pack sleeper you hope ends up doing something. If he's just going to be withdrawing like he's fucking Jason Day, then all of a sudden you probably should just stay away from that guy, even if he is in the tournament. At least let him show a modicum of stability from not withdrawing from tournaments before you get into this. Let's jump over to fantasynational.com, fantasynational.com/Mayo to get yourself a membership. We got the course itself. It's TPC Scottsdale, 7,261 yards, par 71. They're Bermuda grass greens, but they're overseeded. Where do I have the entire thing here? They're Tiff Eagle Bermuda greens, overseeded with velvet bent grass, with Poa triviales and perennial ryegrass. So it's basically a mix of everything that we're going to see in Phoenix. The one thing, so they get listed as Bermuda, but it's not like playing in Florida, what you would consider over time. Historically very firm greens, average hitting the fairway, and the greens tend to play very, very fast. We see they've been listed as fast every year since 2013 per the ShotLink data that we end up filtering through on FantasyNational.com. Par 4 scoring goes huge here. You have the 17th hole, which is quite drivable. Guys find the water a lot, although guys that find the water on 17 still make par around 40% of the time. You gotta go for that green when you're looking through everything. We'll click on the course breakdown. And it's nice that we don't have split courses for the first time in ages. Might get back in the first round leader market. It's a par 71, but like I said, number 17 does have an eagle rate above 1% and birdie rate at almost 40%. There is that water that is just off to the left of number 17, but you need to be aggressive. It's the 3rd easiest hole on the course historically, looking through it. You probably want guys starting on number 1 if you're playing in the DraftKings Showdown contest, only because holes 11 and 12 are the 1st and 4th toughest holes on the course. If you start on 10, or maybe you can get maybe you can get a decent wrap around here. Maybe it may not make that big of a difference either way. You would get one of the easier holes in number 10 as a swing around with 8, 9, and 10 if you went that route, but you do get 16, 17, and 1. So I retract that statement. It does seem like no matter which side that you play, and the easiest birdie streak potential is from 15, 16, and 17, trying to make your way through that. 16, obviously, the stadium hole course. Not sure how players are going to react to not an overwhelming amount of fans, but a scale back in the terms of fans. We know this is the rowdy. This is where I had my bachelor party, for Christ's sake. So it's a rowdy event, and I'm curious to see how that ends up going for a lot of the field. Drives here tend to go really long. Besides Chapultepec, which is played at massive elevation in Mexico City, that is the course that has the longest average driving distance and the most drives over 300 yards percentage-wise on tour. Second is TPC Scottsdale. So your Bombers are going to do pretty well here, but even the shorter, we've seen just an eclectic mix of players end up winning. Like when you have someone like Webb Simpson, I know Chez Reavie lost in that playoff, but he's just someone who hits a lot of fairways and can get dialed in with his irons and putter. Irons, putter, so ball striking catch a hot putter the way you want to go. A lot of chip-ins at this course from off the green too. So you can see a lot of balance type players end up doing really well here over the years. You got to be scoring on these par fives though. Just to backtrack to the par fives for a second, you can see the eagle rate on number 3, 2.2%, number 13, almost 3%, number 15, 2.5%. If you go back and look at the common stats that we've seen amongst the very top end players in this field over the years, you'll notice that par 5 scoring is very, very high up on that list, as is eagles gained and par 4s gained from 450 to 500 yards. Because if we just take a gander here, you see they're 449. We'll throw those in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 par 4s from that distance. And you can see those red numbers, the first, the third, the fifth, and the sixth most difficult holes on this course are going to fall in that region. So you play those holes pretty well, and you can score on the par 5s. You're going to be very much in the mix here. 3 of the past 4 winners have won this event at -17. So you're going to need to make your birdies, but you can't be giving them away. It's not the easiest course out there, but you can find some decent birdie runs as we go through it. The average shot distribution, as you can see, the plurality of the strokes coming on approach from 150 to 175 yards, but it's pretty flat across the board. It's going to be a test of all of your game and how you can make the most birdies. Generally speaking, we've seen the cut line here, even the past 4 years. It generally doesn't dip all that far from even or +2 kind of thing. You're going to be able to rebound from your birdies because there's enough birdie opportunities around, but scrambling here is done at a higher percentage than most average courses. The driving accuracy a bit lower, GUR percentage a bit higher. 3 putts per round, about average, but you can see the average driving distance, 293, and that's a bit more historic. In more recent years, it's closer to 300 yards, which is well above, almost 15 yards above where the average tour event is going to be. So when we're really parsing all of this out, you can take a look at how everything is going in that. Obviously, we don't have the results from the Farmers Insurance Open is the name of it. So the recent form guide, as we can see, if we just look at strokes gained total over the past 6 events, still Harry English. And when we get to my lineup review a little bit later on DraftKings, you can see that Harris English is going to have a big fat miscut from the Farmers Insurance Open, but the most strokes gained total before the Farmers heading into this event, dating back to the Masters from last year, English, Thomas, Sungjae, Corey Connors, and Kim are your top 5. Then you got Chris Kirk, Patton Kazire, Webb Simpson, Johnny and Emiliano Grillo. If we take a look at past history, of course, Webb Simpson was the winner a year ago. And we also have Nate Lashley, Justin Thomas, Bubba Watson, Max Homa, Scott Piercy, Adam Long, Byung-hun, and Daniel Berger. A lot of that was putting derived from Daniel Berger a year ago. And Billy Horschel, Mark Hubbard, John Robb, and Hudson Swafford all finished inside the top 10 last year. If we take a look back at the past 5 years and see who the best players are, Ricky Fowler, Hideki Matsuyama, Webb Simpson, Matt Kuchar, and John Rahm. Weird notable names that pop up in there. Someone like Martin Laird has made the cut each of the past 5 years. Ben Ann has never missed a cut at this event. Ditto with John Rahm. Billy Horschel, very consistent at this course. Xander Schauffele has been consistent at this course. Overall, the past winners, Webb Simpson -17, Ricky Fowler -17, Gary Woodland in a playoff over Chez Reavie -18, Hideki -17, Hideki -14, Brooks Koepka -15, then Kevin Stadler, who made the cut at the Farmers this week, won at -16. Phil -28, and one of my favorite tournaments of all time, Kyle Stanley in 2012, beating Spencer Levine down the stretch a week after gagging away the league at the Farmers, finished at -15. That was the event where Spencer Levine smoked an entire pack of cigarettes on the back nine and got a cactus stuck in his ass. So that's always a fun time. One guy I did want to look up was Sung Yul No. No, he's not even in the field. So never even mind about Sung Yul No. Thought he might actually end up playing this week. Other guys who have made the cut in each of the past 5 years, depending on how many times they've actually had these starts, like Homa and Sungjae have only played it twice, but they've both made the cut. As you can see, John Huh, Adam Hadwin, and Charlie Hoffman have all made the cut, along with Billy Horschel and Xander Schauffele in each of their appearances. Anyone else really stick out as great appearances here? Keith Mitchell's made the cut back-to-back T16 a year ago. And a lot of missed cuts in here. Grayson Murray has actually made the cut each of the past 4 years here. He's been having one really good round per event, and And he had 2 at the Farmers. Then he absolutely blew up in round 3. But just these blow-up rounds from old Grayson. He just can't keep it together enough over the course of 4 rounds to really get it on the go. Look at the strokes gained from last year as well. Obviously, Webb kind of did it everywhere. I believe he led an approach. Yeah, he led an approach. Morikawa was second. Spawn, Hideki, and Piercy were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you get down to Tony Finau in that regard off the tee. Killa Keith just crushed it, along with Patrick Rogers, Bryson, Corey Connors, and Sung. That's got to be Kang off the tee last year. Xander was also over 4 strokes gained. Bubba is a really interesting one. I think this is like the last time he actually putted well at an event. But going back and looking at Bubba Watson, Watson has 6 top 10 finishes at TPC Scottsdale in his 14 starts. He's never won this event. It is the most top 10s he's ever had in an event without actually winning it. And he's been under par in all 14 of his opening rounds at TPC Scottsdale in his career. And he's minus 49 over those opening rounds. It's been by far his best round of any of the events. I guess he gained 0.2 at Zozo, 0.2 at Northern Trust, 2.5 at... he played in the rain this week. Never played Bubba in the rain. It's a mistake that I ended up making. Charles Schwab when he came back. So maybe if he can kind of get a little bit on the go, we can take a look at him when we jump into the live stats a little bit when it comes down to Bubba Watson. But I'm probably going to go back to... I'm curious to see what his number is this week, just with so many big names in the field, that you might be able to catch above. I don't know if he opens at 50, just because he's had a lot of success at this event over the years. But I don't know, like 40, 45, 50 is a pretty good number on Bubba Watson. If you catch him higher, I'll probably jump on that immediately going through it. Let's just take a look here then. So I don't need to click on the full course conditions. Let's jump over to the modeling and see how we're doing from this point of view. Where's waste management? Waste management. Maybe it's under TPC Scottsdale, TPC Boston. Do I even have one saved in here? That would be strange if I didn't. Oh, waste management. Good at top. Good to know. So the good players play well at waste management. How did I have this constructed last year? Overall, par 4s gain, just wanted to see that. 15% lean on 450 to 500. Off the tee and approach, the most heavily weighted things at off the tee 20, approach at 30, around the green at 5%. Did want to mix that in. I'm going to throw putting into this. I'm not going to weight it right now. I might end up weighting it, but I do want to see just to make sure I'm not taking like the worst guys possible. As I mentioned, the par 5s and then Eagles gained. Probably don't need that big of a lean on either, or I'm going to decrease Eagles gained to 5% and include putting at 4%. Opportunities gained at 10%, par 5s 10%. I'm going to decrease the 450 to 500 and actually give some weight to par 4s at 5% as well, and just see what this spits out for me. Obviously, once the stats get loaded in from the Farmers Insurance Open, you only get the 3 rounds from Torrey Pines, or the 1 if your guy missed the cut. The North Course is not included in that. That will be updated sometime on Monday, so if you want to rerun it again, that is your prerogative. I know that I will, and I'll tinker around with everything. But just looking at it, past 50 rounds, just sort by rank: Thomas, Wolf, Rahm, Xander, C. Woo! Kim, who has actually lost the most strokes total of any player at this course over the past 5 years. Griot, Berger, Webb, Watson, Werner. Werner did not play very well in his first start this week at the Farmers. He ended up missing the cut, but it's nice to see that he has that going for him. I mean, I might just latch back onto a few favorites. I'm curious to see what happens to English's number now that he was a complete disaster at the South Course on Thursday, that he goes from being like the 5th favorite in that field, where he doesn't have the name brand of some of the other players. Like someone like Sung Jae looks like he might end up with a very good finish at Farmers, maybe a top 20, a top 15, something like that. Obviously, I don't know what the overall results are going to be. Does that mean he flip-flops someone like does English go from 20 to 1 all the way down to like 40 to 1? Because now some of the cachet is off his name, or does he consistently find himself inside the top 30 in terms of betting odds? Very curious on that. Maybe I'll make that a part of this too, if I can remember everything. I'm going to write this down right now to maybe try to guess the betting odds for this event and some of the guys, maybe try to get the top 5, top 10 and see how close that I can be. Like Brooks has won this event before, hasn't played well in either of the first 2 events of the year. Is he going to be someone that gets crushed in the odds market? Like, does he come in at 40 to 1 here? That's what he hit at the number when he ended up coming in. Like Norlander is Norlander's not going to get up that high, even if he ends up winning at Torrey Pines, but Very curious to see some of these numbers. Like Wolf, does his injury get factored in? Rahm, I guess it depends on if like Rahm or Rory or Zalatoris, if one of those guys ends up winning this week, what happens to their number? But overall, that's very curious to see who ranks out very poorly. Kang, Trainer, Kadai, it's the same losers who were down there. Camilo Villegas actually withdrew from Farmers as well. I'm not sure what the reason is behind that. Any notable names down here? That Matt Jones is down there. Johnny, there's Davis Riley. How has Davis Riley played on the PGA Tour? Those stats are only being drawn from the PGA Tour. Missed at Sanderson, missed at the US Open. He hasn't really played well since he had number 9. He was 9th at the Price Cutter over the summer, won the San Antonio. He really hasn't played well since then, missed the cut at the US Open. Most of that was the around the green and putting performance, though. Very, very good tee to green. So I'm curious what to do with Davis Riley when all is said and done. I know he's going to be very popular amongst the internet crowd this week going into it. I'm going to run the modeling in terms of the rolling report and check out custom model, give that a chance to load just to see if there's any trenders who are doing very well recently or guys that have done really well long-term and see what that ends up spitting out for us here. I'm very curious to see how that's going to end up going. I'm a very curious fella this weekend. And when my guys need to stage a massive comeback on Sunday, I can move on to the next week pretty quickly. Hideki, by the way, has played 24 of his 25 career rounds at this course under par. He didn't play very poorly at Torrey Pines, but it's not kind of the same thing. Let's see here. So over the past 8 rounds coming in, Kim, JT, Kirk, Burns, Connors. Connors, I actually do think is a bit interesting here coming in this week. How has he played historically? He did end up making the cut on the number, had a pretty decent weekend, and obviously he'd been playing really well. I love Corey Connors. The putting had not been like brutal. Waste Management Phoenix Open of 45th. Terrible around the greens, his only start ever here. But the putting has been less of a disaster recently than it has been in the past. But you can see when it gets going bad, it gets going really, really badly. So I'll check in to see how he's been doing this week, and maybe it's been like okay. Sam Burns, very interesting. He goes from 38th over the past 100 rounds all the way down to 3rd, 4th, and 11th, 4th, 4, 8, and past 12 rounds. So after that one blip, he had a horrible round at the Amex in the opening day. He's been really good ever since. Obviously, he's in the final group at Torrey Pines. Brendan Steele is someone to watch. He has a very mixed bag at this course, but he started the season off really, really well. With the 4th and 21st, the Amex struck the shit out of the ball at American Express, couldn't make a putt after making all the putts at Sony, and he's had a mixed bag here in his career, but some very top-end finishes. Missed the cut the last 2 years, but before that, he was like just a beacon of consistency. 3rd, 16th, 17th, 26th, 6th, 6th, 5th, 53rd dating back to 2011. So hopefully his around the green game from 2 years ago doesn't really leave him all that much. Like if you're going to chip that poorly, like you're going to miss the cut. That's only in 2 rounds he lost over 4 strokes around the greens. But the approach has been really good. And like I said, he comes in good ball striking for him. If he ends up like $7,300 and below, he might be a popular play, but we'll see how that ends up going. Sabatini, I mean, I guess I really should have paid closer attention to Sabatini because this doesn't even involve the Torrey Pines stats. I never believe it with Sabatini. It's almost a see it to believe it kind of thing, but he's doing it this week at Torrey Pines. Let's see, Norlander is up there. That doesn't include the recent stats. Man, I should have ran this model fucking this week. Burns, Connors, Rahm. I guess Bubba missed the cut. But again, you see rain in the forecast at any point, just get rid of Bubba. Just cross him off the list. And I'll have to do a weather report on this. But Sab, Xander, Zalatoris, Palmer, like all these guys are inside the top 10 this week. I think Berger might be my early lean for this event. As you can see, he's getting worse as it goes by, but he's still inside the top 25 of the modeling overall. Who else do we have here? Just over the last 18 rounds, Zalatoris does rank pretty highly. Luke List, he had a really horrendous middle rounds, but rounds 1 at the North and even Sunday, at least his start on Sunday, was very good through 9 holes. Same as Molinari. Molinari is someone you should really have on your radar right now as he continues to recapture his game and look good in all facets. And that's what we saw from him before he had his giant breakthrough. So continuing to be early. He's not playing this week in Phoenix, but the odds market on him should be doing a little bit better. Let's go past 4 rounds, or just over the last event. Basically, the guys that played either split rounds well in American Express. Actually, not even that. If you played well at the South Course and missed the cut, you're going to get credit in this. But Bo Hogg kind of jumps up a little bit of recent names. Keith Mitchell continues to play well. Fowler and Steele. Past 100 rounds. So the long-term form, it's going to be your good guys that you would expect. Is there any surprises in there? Connors, English, Varner, Tringali. Henley is also up there coming off a bad event at the American Express. Don't know what to do with Scotty Scheffler at this point. As you can see, his trend line is getting worse and worse and worse, and he basically shit in everyone's mouth round 2 who took him. I was one of the people who took him, so see how that ends up going. Doc Redman's been getting a lot progressively worse over time. Woodland all of a sudden pops up a little bit better, former winner here. Munoz has been trending down recently, but he's not been putting together all 4 rounds, and this is the first time we've seen him since Sony, but he has a top 20 at TOC. He made the cut and had a very poor Sunday at the Sony, so interesting to watch here. Russell Knox, someone who I actually touted last year for this tournament. Can't even remember how he ended up doing. I think he had a top 20, though. Waste Management, Phoenix Open. Did not gain off the tee, gained 4.5 strokes on approach, came 16th, 10th the year before that, miscut 15th, so mixed bag for him, 16th at the American Express, missed the cut at Sony, but you can see the through line for approach for him is very good, actually gained off the tee for the first time, like over a stroke for the first time since Safeway. If he can gain off the tee in these events, he is someone who has enough pedigree. I mean, sometimes he's a shitty putter, but you have to get a good putting week out of these guys, but if he can continue to consistently game with his irons like he's been doing, get a positive week off the tee, you're looking pretty good with Russell Knox. And it all depends on his price point when it comes down to it. Not a lot of, I mean, there is water on hole number, is it number 15? I think it's hole number 15. 15 and 17 have water on it. 15 is the par 5. You got to clear the water, but at least that's not off the tee. It's funny that he can, that's Griot, sorry. Where's Eric Van Rijn? EVR enjoys himself some water off the tee. That's kind of his game at this point. But he continues to kind of make some cuts here. Did not make it at the Sony, although he struck the shit out of the ball. Couldn't get anything going in terms of his short game. Has he played Waste Management? No, he's never played Waste Management in the past, but he's kind of the type of player that you would want here, the European Luke List. Just avoid the water off the tee, pal, and you're going to be good to go. Who's this? This is Griot. How has he played? Waste Management, Phoenix Open. Made the cut every year except for last year. And comes in. It's funny because the putter actually hasn't been bad. I don't know why that continues to be up there, but either way. Missed the cut at Houston, but before that, it was at Memorial where he missed a cut. Like, it hasn't been the worst. I think this is like the first time in his career, his past five events, he's actually in the positives in terms of putting. As you can see, it has never happened really at any other point in his career. I guess this stretch right here from Wells Fargo in 2018 through St. Jude, he was electric on the greens, and then it all just went south for poor Emiliano Griot. But it does seem like the ball striking is back for him. He's playing really well. So he is a player that maybe we can get behind just a little bit. Let's go to change this up a little bit and take a look at the players from this week and see how we're doing for the in-tournament stats. Load this up. Oh, I have the rolling report up for some unknown reason. Now let's go to in-tournament stats, see if that loads. Here we are. Don't even know who's winning right now because I haven't checked in like an hour and a half. It looks like it's still Patrick Reed, Rahm, Ortiz, Sungjae, Hovland, Norlander's still kicking there. Rory cannot get going to save his life. Oh, my poor Ryan Palmer. See, there's Molinari. He's making a move. Poor fucking Ricky, man. Rory, just make some birdies, please. Make some putts. You're killing me out here. Who is playing the best? I bet you it's Rory. Let's see. Hovland, Ryder, Homa, Norlander. I mean, it isn't Rory, actually. In terms of ball striking, it's Rory. Rory, 4.1 on approach, 4 off the tee for the week. So your top gainers, and again, you'll go back and check this, but just going into the week, Sam Ryder playing really well. Is he in the field this week? I can't remember. So you got Rory, Hovland, as of this point right now, Rory, Hovland, Ryder, Norlander, list. Your top 5 in ball striking, Cam Davis. I don't think is playing next week. Molinari is not playing. Got Londo, Xander, and John Rahm all in the field. Plus, Kyle Stanley. He's trending up there, too, as someone who's obviously won in Phoenix before. Bramlett, Fratelli, Sungjae. Who's the best of the guys that missed the cut? Lebioda was the best player ball striking wise, along with Champ. Champ just could not make a putt or chip to save his life. I don't think he's playing again this week either. Then you have Ricky. I'm really curious to see what happens with Ricky this week. The year that he won in Phoenix, he gained like 9 strokes putting or something ridiculous like that. You wouldn't normally expect him to lose 4 strokes putting in any given event. I do want to click on Rory for a second because the putting is it's been killing me. It's not that it's been like so egregious that he's missing 5-foot putts. It's just he's not making anything inside. Like in Saturday's round, he made 1 putt longer than 3 feet. Like that's insane. And as you can see, he's not like an awful POA putter over the course of his career. It's just he doesn't really get it going unless it's on Bermuda. I was hoping I could catch some lightning in a bottle with him, but it just doesn't seem that way. Ryan Moore, and this again is just 1 round from the South course overall, but Moore gained 2.1 on his approaches. Ledesma, Doc Redman actually played pretty well at the South course. So did Stallings. Just couldn't make a putt, either of them. Who else do we have here? Stewart. Brooks actually played decently he played really poorly on the North course, which is kind of shocking considering he played easy, but he had the bad conditions the day that he ended up playing it. McNeely, a lot of doing around the green and putting for Adam Hadwin on the South this week, same as Kadaira. So you got to be kind of wary of some of these guys. No like real outlier performance here. Hadley and Scheffler both gained a ton on approach at the South course, but couldn't drive the ball for crap. And then Scheffler lost over 4 strokes putting. I'm going to get sucked back into stupid Scotty Scheffler next week. Anyway, that's what we're seeing from the Farmers. Hopefully it all ends up working out for a lot of people out there. That would be nice if people could win some bucks on this. I do now want to go into my DraftKings lineup for this week, as I mentioned off the top. It didn't really work out well, and I'm kicking myself, mainly because when I went into the week, I had 2 main lineups. This is obviously one of them, although I only played it in the $200 and the $5 drive to the green because I cowered it out. I went into the week on the premise that I thought that my best lineups were going to be Rory Rahm lineups, and then play them with someone in the $8,000 range and play 3 scrubs along with them. It's funny because I have 2 main lineups, and one of them's in the $100 single entry that hopefully is going to pay for the week and a little bit more if some of my guys at the bottom, if Luke List continues to make birdies, and if Rory or Rahm or Zalatoris can end up winning, because that's the lineup. I believe it's Rory, Rahm, Zalatoris, Haggy, Gordon, List, and Gordon kind of blew up, so that didn't end up well. I ended up with a lot of Gordon this week just because he was so cheap, and I thought he would make the cut, and he did. Turns out he didn't play very well. And this lineup that I have in the $200, let's jump over to that right now. As you can see, Rory, English, Palmer, Straka, Jones, Will, Gordon. I cowered it out and didn't play the lineup. I thought I would play it a bit more safe. So that's on me, to be perfectly honest with you. I should have played my Rory Rahm lineups. Like even in the Pat Mayo Experience Open, I played 2 Rory Rahm lineups in that. In the $100, I played that. I played 1 lineup in the $20. That's the lineup I played in Josh Burkett's season-long DraftKings contest where you pick the 1 lineup. I played my Rory Rahm. I played that lineup in all of those, and I didn't have the guts to do it because I thought it was too risky. I felt like I should get a bit safer, and I thought that Harris English was going to be a safe play. Turns out he wasn't. And the same thing that happened to me last week, I had a 5 of 6, and 5 of 6 could most definitely cash this week. Just this particular shitty 5 of 6 lineup is not going to cash. Maybe if Rory wins and, I don't know, Straka and Matt Jones ended up with hole-in-one somewhere along the line, I'm looking good here, but my guys just took a crap on the weekend. And last week it was, who was it? It was Vaughn Taylor and Adam Long who ended up taking a crap on the weekend and just took me out of it. And that was a 5 of 6 that could have done some damage because there was such a low 6 of 6 percentage. This week I went with Straka and Jones. I bet both of them top 10 this week, and they just imploded. It all started late on Friday with the both of them. They had to rally and hold it together in order just to make the cut, and they had a really bad Saturday. Now, looking at where they're at right now, and Jones is even through 9, Straka is -1 on the day, but that's not really cutting it when you shoot 74 and 77 on Saturday. And that's exactly what happened. They've taken me out of it. If they just shoot even, I'm very much in contention to end up getting into the money. So I'm going to be -400 on the 2 weeks that I have been covering this. Like I said, I might have to give this up if I keep losing too much money here. Fortunately, even in last week, the $100 single entry keeps bailing me out and churning a profit for me here. And that sort of luck isn't going to continue, that I somehow keep landing on my best lineup to put into that. When you make 20 lineups during a week, it's just good fortune on my end. But like at one point this was cashing because Palmer was third, Rory was eighth, Will Gordon was like T5. Now Will Gordon's all the way down to T38. Not great, Will. When you're putting the ball in the water, him and Haggy too just destroyed themselves on 18 on Saturday, putting the ball into the water, and just been downhill for Will Gordon ever since. He's +3 through 8, as you can see here. And it's not great. It's not a situation that I obviously want to be in here, losing money here. Last week I bubbled. I think I missed the money by 2 spots, like 184th in this contest right now. I think, where's the money at here? The money starts at, is it top 60 ends up doing it? Yeah, that's winning 0, top 65. Maybe it is the top 60 that end up paying in this contest. Top 55? Yeah, it's top 60. I guess, or top 58 in this contest end up paying. When you're 184th, probably not going to cash. Not going to lie to you. So I really wanted to go with those Rory and Rahm lineups. I wish I had taken Rahm over Rory in this one, as it's going right now. But if I had just played both, I'd be doing a lot better. And it's not so much that was the particular build you had to go to, but the majority of my lineups were either built around Rory and Rahm or the two of them together. And if you took the two of them together, you immediately got tossed into that $6,000 range. And I had a lot of success in the $6,000 range for guys making the cut. I played a lot of Luke List, a lot of Brandon Haggy, a lot of Will Gordon. And obviously they're not doing great, but they all made the cut. And in the other lineups where I have those two guys paired with Palmer and Zalatoris, like that's enough. Like Palmer's in 14th. I'm not sure where Zalatoris is at the moment, but he was top 10 or top 5 before that. Like having a concentration of 3 guys inside the top 10 and all your other like random losers make the cut, you're not going to necessarily win any GPPs, but you're going to place pretty highly. I think right now with the 6 of 6 lineup with List, Haggy, and Gordon along with it, instead of the Straka and Jones type builds that I had on the go. Oh, Straka made another birdie. Good for him. That's good for in the smaller single entries, like top 20 right now. It's making like 4 times my money. So, you get a hole in one or you get an eagle from one of these losers somewhere along the line. And then all of a sudden you're propelled inside the top 10. You're looking pretty good when it comes down to it. I just wish I would have had the fortitude to play one of those lineups in this $200 contest. It comes back to bite me in the ass. If that happens, the thing that I find the hardest besides tournament selection, creating good lineups and hitting winners in the betting market overall, is if you're going to play in one of these higher stakes contests. And that's why I'm doing this, to show you that I'm not good at this. And sometimes it takes some luck that, if I just played the lineup that I went and looked at it. If I played the lineup that I played in the $100 in the $200 right now, instead of being 184th in this contest, I think I'd be 7th. And that lineup be worth like $1,000 with the potential to move up even more. Sometimes it just comes down to luck in the way that you enter these contests. And it's always better to be, it's a big help to be good. But you got to be lucky at the same time, too, if you do want to cash and consistently cash. But I'm not hating the fact that I got 5 of 6 through. Obviously, the lineup's not going to win. There's probably 4 of 6 lineups that are going to beat this shitty 5 of 6 lineup that I have, just because it has more guys towards the top. But at the same time, I played the $200 3 weeks now. I've only covered it twice on the show. I had a 6 of 6, a 5 of 6, and a 5 of 6. If I can get 5 of 6 or 6 of 6 every single week, I'm going to be profitable in this contest by the time it comes through. At least in my mind, I think that's how it's going to be over time. If I can just avoid those massive blow-up weeks, and we know that those are coming, the 3 of 6, the 2 of 6, the 4 of 6. That just happens, especially in weeks where there's not a high 6 of 6 percentage. I think overall, it was like 8% this week across like all contests as an average that had 6 of 6. Now at Sony, it was like 25%. At Amex, it was like 3%. So this is generally the range that we're going to be in. I guess it's probably going to be a little bit higher at Waste Management because there's only 132 players in the field, just fewer players to end up randomly making the cut like your Kevin Stadlers with the, 30 less players in the field. So I would expect the 6 of 6 percentage, unless like the super chalkiest 2 guys end up missing the cut, then all of a sudden you're going to be looking good. I do want to play a guess the lines type game here with the players that are left in the field. So how are we going to do this? Let's take a look at who's available in this field. I would guess that the 5 favorites are going to be Thomas, Rahm, Rory, Webb, and Xander. I think those 5 are going to be your favorites. You're going to have Im, Berger, Hideki. Hideki might get into that because of the course history. Brooks, Harris, maybe Wolf if he ends up playing. Then you have like your Bubba Watson, Jason Days, Gary Woodlands, because he's won here before, and Ricky Fowler will be overvalued in the market, overpriced in the market, at least probably where he should be. He probably should be like 75 to 1. He probably comes in at like 40 to 1 because he just has the course history narrative going for him at this contest in the past. But with Thomas, Rahm, and Rory, and Xander, and I don't know what to do with Brooks here, where to price him at. It's probably going to be 30 to 1 would be my guess. But Thomas, Rahm, Rory will be your 3 favorites. Maybe Webb sneaks up there too, probably around the same as Xander. But with those 5, try to put out a number for them because there's so many. 9 to 1 is probably your favorite at this tournament. I'm going to say John Rahm 9 to 1, Justin Thomas 10 to 1. Rory 10 to 1. And obviously, I don't know what the outcome is as of right now of what has happened at Torrey Pines. If Rahm wins, he's going to be the favorite. If Rory wins, he's going to be the favorite. That's just how betting odds work. I'll say that, so 9 to 1, 10 to 1, 10 to 1, 9 to 1, 10 to 1, 12 to 1, let's say. For Thomas, Rahm, and Rory, I'll say that Webb and Xander come in at 14 to 1. And maybe 16 to 1. You could probably interchange those two. And then you'll have Hideki come in at 18, 20, or 22. He'll get that course history bump. And then you'll have English, Im, Berger and Berger in your like 25 to 28 to 1, maybe 30 to 1. And obviously you're going to be able to find better numbers on all of these guys depending on where you end up playing. But I'm just trying to guess like the overall opening line is going to be. Then you'll get Brooks at either 30 or 35 to 1. I'll say Ricky and Bubba come in around the 40, 45, 50 to 1 range. Then you have like your Jason Day, Ryan Palmer, Scotty Scheffler. No idea where those guys end up coming in. Matthew Wolff, it's going to be hard to judge with the injury, so I'd wait and see on him. If you can get you a good number on Wolff, I like Wolff at this course. Poor EP pulled a full Andercust this week after the withdrawal after going all in on Wolff. But if he is healthy, I do like him here this week. Zalatoris, like if he ends up winning, he's going to get propelled up the market, but I bet he comes in around for 40, 45, 50 to 1. Who else? Woodland is a really interesting one. If you catch a 50 or better on the opening line on Woodland, you probably take that right away. And then Jason Day coming off a really bad event. He tends to get crushed in the markets like this, so he probably drops to 55, 60 to 1 as an open. People will galvanize behind Jason Day because, hey, Jason Day is good enough to win. It's one bad event. Still Jason Day. You're not betting on him to come inside the top 10 or make the cut. It's either he wins or he withdraws or shoots 25 over par. That there'll be enough buzz for Jason Day because I'm one of the idiots who does that every single week anyway. That can be fine as well. But Thomas, Rahm, Rory, all in that like 8 to 12 range each. Then Webb and Xander inside the top 20, probably 14 to 1, followed by Hideki would be my guess on the top 6 on the betting odds without knowledge of what has happened at Torrey Pines going in to the Waste Management Open. I will be back on Monday with Jeff Feinberg. It's Super Bowl week as well, so I have a ton of Super Bowl content. We'll be talking Patrick Reed, we'll be talking waste management, and hopefully we've all won some money by when the dust settles on Torrey Pines and things have finally broken our way on a Sunday. Wouldn't that be glorious? Probably never going to happen because I'm never going to hit a winner again. That's just how I roll these days. Also, if you want to get in that $100 draw, rate and review the Pat Mayo Experience audio pod, 5-star review, something you like about the show, and Twitter handle and email address. Then the additional $100 draw, go subscribe to Daily Fantasy Sports Picks and Bets, The Mix, on Apple Podcasts or wherever you download podcasts. That feed is up there right now. You can also find all of the links in the description of this video and podcast. You leave a 5-star review, tell people to subscribe to the show, and leave your Twitter handle or email address, and you're in a draw for $100. I'll do that winner announcement sometime within the next 2 weeks, likely on the Monday show with Jeff Feinberg as well. Me, Cust, and Jeff are back for spread picks. I got a prop show coming up. Not sure if I'll do the live chat, but we got DraftKings picks again this week for golf. Jam-packed week on the Pat Mayo Experience. Remember to subscribe to Mayo Media Network on YouTube. Become a member at fantasynational.com, fantasynational.com/Mayo to get yourself the discount. Smash the like on the way out, all right? I'm Pat Mayo. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!